Hi, welcome to today's video. Today I want to share with you 22 things I wish I knew before I was 22. I turned 22 a few weeks ago now and I don't feel it. I really thought I'd kind of have my life together by now, but I don't. And that's totally okay. Like, 22 is not that old. It's fine. I've been doing a lot of reminiscing, and last night I was going through my Instagram and like privating a bunch of old photos because young me posted a lot of random stuff, and it kind of hit me how much I've changed since I was, 18. Which is weird because I don't feel like I've changed since I was 18 because like something happened in the world to make life feel like it froze for a while, if you know what I mean. So I'm just kind of thinking about, I don't know, what I've learned, and I want to share that with you because I think especially if you're younger, it might be handy to hear these things from someone who does not feel like an adult but has been for a while now. Also, I wrote this list and did not proofread it, so we might have some things that kind of overlap, but it's fine. Number 1, people are always going to judge you, so just do what you want to do. I have spent a very long time trying to be what other people want me to be, but never quite doing it right. And so people judge me anyway, and so I may as well just do what makes me happy. That's something that I know in theory, but I find it really hard to actually like put into practice. I do always worry about what people think of me, so. Number 2 is maybe a contradiction to number 1, but no one actually cares what you're doing. It can feel like everyone has opinions about what we do, and they often do, but everyone generally is so swept up in their own lives that they don't really care. They might be mean, but they'll forget. Like, we are the most important person in our own lives, and so everything we do feels a lot bigger to us than it does to anybody else. Number 3 is something that I still really struggle with, but it is that you can never make everybody happy. I have quite people-pleasing tendencies, and that is really hard because people will never be happy. And if you do something to make one person happy, someone else is gonna be mad about it. So there is no winning if you're trying to make everyone happy. So at the end of the day, the most important person in your life is yourself, so do what makes you happy. Wow. I need to take my own advice. Number 4 is one that I have been very fixated on lately, and it is that cringe is dead. People are always going to try and make you embarrassed for the things that you like. No, don't let them. Cringe isn't a thing. If you enjoy something and it's not hurting anybody, then like it's fine. This concept of cringe is just coming from people who are like afraid of earnestness, and I'm not about that life, and I don't think you should be either, because if something brings you joy, do it, you know? Number 5 is making friends is really hard, so embrace it when it happens. I don't know how to make friends. Like, as an adult, making friends is so hard. I don't work with anyone, I'm self-employed, and I used to work at a very small company where like the next person closest to age from me was like 25 years older than me. I don't go to like uni or anything like that, so like I don't meet people. So when friendships do come along, I really treasure them and hold on to them, and maybe I'm a bit much, but friendships are really important to me. And so when they come around, I do try to make the most of them, tell my friends how much I value them, and yeah, I have a lot of love for my friends. Number 6 is you don't need to hide the things that are important to you. Whether that is like a way of life or something you're interested in or a hobby or anything, you don't need to hide it if it's something that makes you happy. The way this has kind of played a part in my life is when I was 17 maybe or 18, I got really into sustainability and felt like I had to hide that, which feels weird now, looking back, but I was very surrounded by people who would mock that and make fun of it. But it's something that was really important to me. It's something that I really care about, and hiding it ended up like really causing me quite a bit of pain. So yeah, I don't hide the things that are important to you. Number 7 is people will always question everything you do, so do it anyway. This is something that I experience over and over again. So many people feel like they have the right to know every little detail about what I'm doing and questioning why and how I'm doing things, and like, I don't need to tell them anything. I don't need to please them in any way if it's like just how I want to live my life. So number 8 is something I feel very strongly about and has caused many problems in my life, and it is that you don't owe anybody your secrets. There are a lot of people who feel entitled to that information about you, but they don't actually need any of it. Like, you get to decide who knows what about you. I have had multiple friendships fall apart because people think that they deserve more information than I'm willing to give them, and it's nothing that concerns them, it's nothing that affects our friendship, it's just me wanting to hold a few things close to my chest and them not respecting that. Number 9 is that you can say no to anything. Whether someone is trying to guilt you into something or trying to like peer pressure you into something, you can say no, like, to anything. This is something that I think about a lot because of the way people ask you to do things. A lot of people will say like, do you want to do this? But they actually mean like, can you do this? But I always miss that, and I'm like, no, I don't actually want to do that, so no. And then people get like really mad, but also like, I'm totally entitled to saying no when I don't want to do something. And like, so many people then turn to try and... My phone just rang. I have no idea if I finished my point, but we're moving on. Number 10 is that it'll never be the perfect time. There are a lot of things in my life where I'm like, no, I need to wait until everything's right. It's not gonna happen. Life just keeps going, and the time is never perfect. The stars will never align in the specific way you want. And this can be for like big things, like big decisions, but it can also be little things like the fabric that I'm saving for the perfect project, which will never come. I need to use it now because my stash is growing. That's not what this video is about. Move on. Number 11 is that finding like-minded people is life-changing. Having people in your life who care about the things that you care about and kind of just work the way you do is really important, I guess. It's really valuable to feel understood, and I think that there are times where you just need people who care and feel the same way you do. I don't know how to talk. Number 12 is that your identity and the things you care about can always shift and change. I feel like it's easy to feel like the you that you are right now and the things you care about is what you're going to be for the rest of your life, and that's just not always the case. It can be. There are values that can stick with you forever, but things do change. As you have different experiences and learn new things, you can change, and that's pretty cool if you ask me. Number 13 is that you can follow your passions. I feel like we're told that like your passion is something you do in your spare time, but you have to have like a safe plan. And while that is definitely a good piece of advice because you can't always make it following your passions, you can try to pursue them. For me, my passion is storytelling, and while I'm not actively pursuing it right now, I am working on it. I'm working towards it. I have goals and dreams that I'm hopefully one day going to achieve, and that's okay. I think I was maybe raised with the idea that like creative passions in particular were not worth anyone's time, and I just disagree with that on a fundamental level, so yeah. Number 14 is that people aren't usually born with natural talent. Everything takes work. This is something that I've struggled with my entire life. I wanted to be so many things. I wanted to be a musician, I wanted to be a writer, I wanted to do this and that, but I wasn't born with natural talent, and so I told myself that I just couldn't do it. I know now that a lot of people aren't born with natural talent and that they make it because of how much effort they put in, and I don't have that much effort, but at least now I know. I just think that I used to compare myself a lot to other people who I perceived as having natural talent when actually they were just putting in more like time and effort than I was. Number 15 is that the more time you spend with people who like drama, the more drama there will be in your life. You might like that, so like, sure, go for it, but I personally just like don't like it. I don't like gossip and drama. I just think that it stresses me out too much, and like it's not something I want in my life, and so I do try and limit my exposure to it. I think social media definitely plays a part as well. Like, there is so much drama online, and while I am like chronically online, I am honestly mortified by my screen time. But I think I have kind of cultivated a little area online where like it's not drama based, so like I'm mostly good. Number 16 is that time is fleeting. Time waits for no one, as they say, and in the very wise words of Smash Mouth, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. This is something that I've really been thinking about for a while now, but the past few weeks especially, because it was my birthday, time just keeps moving. And since the pandemic especially, I have no concept of time anymore. I feel like this year has been going for so long, but also like New Year's was last week and I don't know how to deal with any of that, and I feel like I only just turned 18, but that was over 4 years ago now, so that's something in particular that I can't stop thinking about. Like, when I think about like, oh yeah, when I graduated high school, I'm like, yeah, like a year or two ago. That's almost 5 years ago. And like, I just was not the same person because it's been so long, and I don't know, time waits for no one, and so I'm trying to like make the most of the time I have. Number 17 is everyone is going at their own pace, and it's okay if your pace is a little slower. I've always compared myself to other people, even when I was like quite young. I vividly remember being like 13, comparing myself to like celebrities and like child actors, which like I shouldn't have been doing. I remember turning 16 and being like, at my age, Taylor Swift released an album, and what have I done? And it's like, yeah, but she's the outlier. But it's something I've always done, especially into like early adulthood. I can't help but compare myself to others. And even now, just comparing myself to my peers, my life is like a few years behind a lot of my peers. A lot of my friends are getting like full-time jobs and are in long-term relationships, and I am not. I think one area that I think about a lot in terms of people working on different timelines for their lives is relationships, because I compare myself to my parents a lot. At my age, my parents had already been married for like a year and a bit. And then I look at myself, I've never even been in a relationship. Like, I'm working on a different timeline, and I used to kind of beat myself up for that, but I'm realizing like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm allowed to take things slow in every aspect of my life, and that's totally okay. Number 18 is something that makes me so sad, but it's the truth, and it is that sometimes people just won't like you. There is nothing you can do to make someone like you. If they just don't like you, they don't like you. I've found myself bending over backwards to try and be what people want me to be, but there is no version of myself that they will ever like. I think it can really suck, again, as a people pleaser, to just know that something fundamental about myself is so unlikable to others, but like, it kind of just is what it is. There are people who I don't like, and there's not a particular reason for it. We just don't work well together, and that's okay. Number 19 is that some people are just mean. They just are cruel and enjoy hurting other people. I find it often hard to believe that anyone would intentionally cause harm, but I know that's very naive because there are a lot of people who choose to hurt others. I think we all have interactions with people who seem to find joy in hurting us and in our pain, but just kind of being aware that those people do exist and trying to pick up on the signs before they get a chance to hurt you is kind of important. I wish I knew that earlier, because there have been a lot of people who I've really tried to like see the best of, who actually just like don't care about hurting me. Number 20 is find joy in anything. If something makes you happy, own it. Just go for it. People like to try and judge what makes other people happy, but like that's so dumb. If you enjoy rewatching the same TV show over and over again, good. If that brings you joy, good. If you like looking at the sky for hours, good. If you like doing something, if you have a hobby, anything that brings you joy that doesn't hurt other people is a good thing. Number 21 is to create without the need to be good. Paint bad paintings, sing bad songs, write bad stories. I think that humans have this need to create, and we often hold ourselves back because we feel like we need to be good at it, but like we don't. You don't need to be good at things to find something in it. I think that being creative in that way is such an important form of self-expression, and to limit that because we're not good at it feels weird. And lastly, number 22 is being in awe is a truly beautiful thing. I often judged myself for the way I would fixate on certain things because of I had this, I don't even know how to explain it. I get this overwhelming sense of rightness when I see certain things. This sounds so weird. Let me give context. I swear this makes sense. This is something that is so important to me. I've always loved looking up at the night sky, and I've never quite been able to explain the way it feels, but I've been talking about it a lot lately to a friend who honestly puts up with way more moon talk than I think they have to, but I think at my core, what I'm feeling is just very human. When I let myself be in awe of something, I feel human in a way that I generally don't. I don't know if part of it is because our lives are so fast-paced and there's so much technology around that taking a moment to, you know, be in awe of nature kind of just grounds me or what, but I feel my best and my most human when I am looking at the night sky or at a sunset or at flowers. I feel so human in those moments and it feels so good. Sometimes it is a pure joy, other times it is bittersweet, but it makes me feel like a person in a way that I don't a lot of the time. So, those were 22 things that I wish I knew before 22. I kind of can't believe that I'm 22. And while I do know these things in a very like logical, theoretical way, I do still really struggle with them in practice. I think that, like with anything, it's the kind of thing that does take time, and maybe in a few years I'll be even better at these things and they will come naturally rather than taking so much actual effort. I think that I struggle the most with the ones that focus on other people, on kind of knowing what other people are feeling and things like that. But yes, that's all I have for you today. I'm sorry if this was just rambly and weird. I just kind of felt the need to reflect on like what has changed within me in the past few years, because again, I feel like I haven't changed since I was 18, but I totally have, because I wouldn't have said most of these things when I was 18. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up, you can subscribe. I upload twice a week, and I will see you next time. Bye. You have the memory of a goldfish. I don't actually think goldfish have bad memory. I think that's just like a saying. No, elephants have good memory.